right, good morning everybody. We are back at it. They got everything fixed last night. They loaded up all the trucks after the crossover tractor. The 8335 broke a hydraulic line under the cab. And it's not one they can change easily. They have to take it down to Blackfoot to the shop and pull the whole cab off to fix it. So it's not gonna be easy, but we have a beautiful sunrise this morning. And I wish you guys could see. This camera cannot zoom in, but there's windmills over there on the mountain. And there's like fog, and the sun's shining through, and then you can see like the shadow of the windmill. It looks so cool. It just looks so awesome over there. I wish you could see it, but unfortunately I do not have a camera that can capture that. So let's go see, well, we'll walk into the eliminator cellar first, and then we'll walk back and see how the potatoes look coming in. They probably have maybe 3 or 4 hours left on this field, and then we'll be switching fields. And I imagine before the day is over, we'll be switching cellars too. So a lot of stuff going on today. And this is the eliminator cellar. It's almost full, as you can see. There's not a lot of room left. We do have a wall we can put right here, kind of block it off. So it can hold a few more, but we're definitely going to fill this cellar. If we fill this cellar, we do have one other cellar that we weren't planning on using that we can put potatoes in. We don't want to, but I guess if we have to, we can. So we're going to probably fill this cellar and the one they're putting spuds in right now in. We're probably going to fill those today. Maybe not the eliminator one, but definitely the other one. Well, the potatoes are looking really good. They are a little on the small side. They're stopped because they're currently loading a semi, and well, it looks like they just got it loaded, so they might be going back into the cellar now. But this field is pretty rocky, and there are these little guys. They're just little tiny rocks is what we're getting. So I'm gonna go see if I can figure out why it isn't going. Well, the mountain of rocks just grows more and more every day. It's a little chilly out here this morning. It's kind of windy. It's only about 40 degrees, 45 degrees, which is good for the potatoes. They're not going to get warm at all. What we like to do, because these are fresh potatoes, we want to know kind of what our percentage is that's going to be used versus eliminated at the plant. We take a 5-gallon bucket of these potatoes and then we count them. We'll take the big ones and we'll weigh them and we'll set them in the different sizes, and then like a little one, we'll weigh that one, and we'll just set them in different groups. Anything under 5 ounces will not get used. They will eliminate that. That's why we're trying to eliminate most of those. So anything under 5 ounces or anything over 5 ounces they will use, and they'll put them in different boxes depending on what size. So we've been trying to figure out our size and everything on these. And right now, of these, we took a whole 5-gallon bucket and there was only one that they would not use. It was too small. The rest of them varied from the ones that were going to the bigger boxes versus the smaller boxes to the little bags. So they're all usable potatoes. Now there is going to be some tear because, I mean, as much as we try and prevent bruise with stuff like these fingers and things, there's always going to be a little bit of bruise. We're going to have a little bit of green ends. There's going to be a few defects here and there, but for the most part, they're doing pretty good. I know the last time I heard, the pack out is what they call it. That's how many of your potatoes got packed into a box versus eliminated. Our pack out on the last few semis, because we've been loading semis, the pack out was 80%. So we were having an 80% pack out on these potatoes, which is pretty freaking awesome for fresh. I think if you can get over 60-65%, you're doing pretty good. Now obviously we are eliminating, which if we decided not to eliminate, they would just eliminate them at their plant and then they would send them off to process. So because we're eliminating, that would decrease our pack out if we sent them in. So I don't know where that comes out in the figure of what our actual pack out is if you take the eliminators out. I think we're only eliminating about 10% of the potatoes, so I don't know. Somebody out there knows the math. Let us know, because I don't know the math. Okay, I decided to come out in the truck because I haven't gone in a truck this year. I haven't had to trade anybody off or load anything other than the very first day I loaded one truck. So I'm out here with my mom. Harvester's out here going, and we're gonna see if we can get you a little bit of footage of the truck getting loaded. So we're gonna follow these guys for a minute, and then we'll get loaded and head back into the cellar. This field's doing fairly well. I think as we go this way, the spuds will get a little bit better because it was getting a little bit more water. Granted, there are some weedy patches out there, but it's looking pretty good. We'll get up here and get loading shortly. Unloading now, but the bin is almost completely full, so it'll be off and on. They have to go slow because there's so many rocks, and it looks like they're currently loading a semi right there, maybe just finished. So it's slow when we're loading semis, but I have to go and get back in the disc and finish that field that I started yesterday, hopefully before they switch cellars, so I can come help them move cellars. I was about to hop in the disc, and then I got a call that Titan Machinery was out here to pick up our tractor that blew the line, and they needed some help putting it back together. So now I'm back out here in the field to help get this tractor put together and loaded up. It actually looks like they may have fixed it out here. We might just be hooking it back up to the crossover. Got the tire off so they can get in there. And my dad just pulled the crossover over. Just getting it put back on. Dad's over here unhooking the windrower, and then we'll move that, back this in. Thing is, the line he fixed wasn't the one that was leaking, it was a different one. So we still have a little bit of a leaky line, but it can wait till after harvest to get that fixed. Back in there somewhere. Okay, we just got all this unhooked. So now we can pull this out of the way, bring that one over and hook it up. There's so many things. There's all the hydraulics, and then all this wires and that box, and there's a whole bunch of stuff to hook up. Now we're just getting everything hooked back up, all the hydraulics and all the PTO and electrics and everything. We're just about ready for this thing to take off again. All right, he is ready to go. He's gonna take off and get going, and I'm gonna head back to the cellar. And he is low on some hydraulic oil, so I think we'll have one of the truck drivers, maybe Trevor, bring out some hydraulic oil to put in him since it leaked a bunch out last night. We just got done fixing a roller on this truck. This time it was the front roller. There's a bearing in there. The bearing went out on the other side, so we had to take it all apart and put a new bearing in. And we just got it put back together and had to line up the belt right here so the belt doesn't touch the frame, because if you tighten this side, it'll push the belt that way. If you tighten that side, it pushes this way, so you have to line it up to make sure it's running right in the middle. But this truck should be good to go. I'm gonna go park it. Oh, now I should be able to go disc. Maybe, unless something else breaks. All right, what's up guys? So we're out here in the field, just waiting for some trucks. Just to give you a little bit of update, I'm sure Terrence videoed a little bit of what's been going on. A little bit of a tractor troubles. We just barely got that tractor going. The 8335, had to put the 8330 on it yesterday, and
Anyway, needless to say, I got John Deere and Case wanting to bring tractors out for us to get done. That's how ready and willing some of the equipment companies are around here. You know, everybody knows harvest time is a busy crunch season, and they're willing to help us out when we get in a pinch. But while I'm waiting for a truck, because I know they're going a little bit slower, this ground right here is a little bit rockier, especially getting to this end. It's an end the pivot didn't water very good. So anyway, so they're unloading really slow so they can get the rocks out. I was just doing a quick walk around my machine. You know, I like to check chains. I like to check my connector links. So you can see kind of right here, this is where the two chains hook together. You know, I look here in the end to see there's still plenty of wear. So I'll look for that, look for any rollers that are broken. You know, the seller has told me that there's rollers coming into the field or into the cellar off of the machine. I said, well, I got a lot of rollers. Nothing has seemed to affect me much yet. One thing I was looking at was right here above me. This is that multi-sep table that we were telling you guys about. And I know the sun is in a bad spot. There we go, a little hard to see. But this does have some rollers that are out and bad. If you look, oh, you can kind of see right here, there's a potato stuck in that one. Missing a few there. This one over here is missing a few. So some of the little potatoes come down through. We only have a few more days left to harvest, so I'm not going to fix those right now. We'll let some of the little teeny potatoes drop down on the ground. You can see a few right there. Those are the eliminators anyways that we only get paid $1 or $2 for per sack. So that is if somebody wants to buy them. Anyway, it's a nice cool day out here in the field. Just waiting for a truck, and yeah, we'll get going back again. So yeah, you guys hopefully you like the videos. Keep watching.
All right, well, they're loading a semi over there, so we're not currently running any into the cellar. All these just look like the most lovely potatoes. All of them. Like, there aren't any, okay, I can't say there aren't any. There's some that look weird, some funky ones, but very few. Norcotas genetically like to grow into a nice, perfect shape. And that's why so many processors and so many like grocery stores, they all like Norcotas, because when you think of a potato, that's the size and shape you think of when you think of a baked potato. You don't think of these ones that taste just as good. They're just a little funky. So they like the Norcotas. We also have a couple fields of Burbanks. Burbanks, they're a little bit more funky looking. They're still good. They store really well. They taste really good. Actually, I think they taste better than Norcotas. But then you have like the Rangers that we used to grow for process. And Rangers, you would have ones that are 90 and bent. They're all funky looking. But the one thing about Rangers is they will grow to extreme sizes. I mean, last year we had potatoes that were bigger than like a whole roll of paper towels or football. Like, they were huge. 5-pound potatoes last year. But with Norcotas, you don't get them quite that big. We have found a few big ones, a few really big ones, but you don't normally get quite that big of potatoes with Norcotas or Burbanks. But those Rangers, man, whew, those things were huge. And they would yield 500, 600, 650 sacks, and a sack is 100 pounds of potatoes per acre. Like crazy. Right now we're lucky if we're getting like 400 on these Norcotas. But we were expecting that. We were expecting to have less potatoes, so just because they don't grow quite as big, they don't yield quite as heavy. They can under the right conditions, like if we would have vapammed all of our field last fall, but we didn't know we were growing Norcotas this year until spring, so we couldn't vapam it. Now, next year, we are going to vapam it this fall, so next year, all of our potatoes should yield a lot better. The plants should stay alive for a lot longer. It should be a lot better year next year. This was just our first year getting into fresh, and we were kind of late to the party. We didn't know we were going to be doing it until about the last minute. So yeah, we get what we get. We don't throw a fit. And I'd say these look pretty darn good for fresh potatoes. I'm out here in the field. I had to get out because there's a riser right there, but then there's this spot that hasn't been worked, but I don't see a riser. So I'm just double checking if there is or not. See if there's one here. I really don't want to run over a riser. I see one over there. I wonder if they just had the pipe stacked right here, so they didn't plant it, they just went around the pipe. But I'm not seeing a riser. I'm expecting to kick something, but I'm not seeing anything. So I'm gonna keep looking, because if there isn't a riser, then I really need to work this up. I'm not seeing one. I'm gonna keep checking, and then we'll get going here. Well, I could not find a riser, so we're just going for it. I think there's one over there, and there's two over there, but I think this must have just been where they stacked the pipe. But we're gonna get it all worked up. All right, so I finished all the corn, but it turns out there's a little handline piece that I didn't even know about, but all the handlines are still on it, so I can't do that piece. So we're gonna lift this up, fold it up, and head back to the shop. I guess they have been broke down in the field for like 5 hours. A bunch of shafts broke on the harvester and sprockets and everything came apart. So they've been broke down trying to get the right parts and everything. So we're gonna go back and see how close they are to get going. They haven't even finished that field they were on this morning. And they only had 10 acres left, so they did not get very far from the last time you saw the field before they broke down. But we'll go see if we can help them out. Well, while I'm on my way out to the field to see how the repairs are going, I guess they have all the parts now, so hopefully we're getting close. We had a visit by Flat Stanley. So we had a Flat Stanley come. If you don't know what Flat Stanley is, it's a storybook character. Little kid who got squashed by a billboard and now he's flat. So what people do, a lot of schools around the world, they'll color these Flat Stanleys and then send them out, and you take pictures with them and then send them back. Well, we had a Flat Stanley visit. I wasn't there, so my mom went around and took pictures with Flat Stanley around the farm. So here's a few pictures that we took, and we'll see you out in the field. Just in time for it to be finished. So they're gonna get going here, and we'll see if it works. I guess they thought they had it fixed once and then it broke again. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it works this time. Well, it all turned on, so that's good. I guess it bent a couple of the main shafts, and it broke some sprockets and wrapped up all the chains. It just, everything broke. So hopefully it'll work well now. Like it's working really good. It also looks like right here is yielding pretty well. I'm about to get covered in dust. Okay, we are rolling. And I guess this semi that's just about full, they're just about to shut it off over there. He's been sitting there almost loaded for like 5-6 hours. So hopefully no more problems. But the bin is getting full. We're running now. But I think we're gonna try and run until the cellar is full, so we might be here pretty late tonight. All right, we're rolling now. Getting the taters put in the cellar. Man, it's making me hungry. It is about that dinner time. These are delicious. I can stand here for a few minutes and then I need to go unhook the disc right over there and hook the chisel plow back up, because all the rest of the fields that I need to do have to be chisel plowed, not disced. So I think there's a couple we'll have to disc later after harvest, but we will have a different tractor. We'll hook it up to our 8430 and not the big tractor. The big tractor will have to have the chisel plow hooked up to it because we have a lot of ground to work up. But for now, we're just gonna look at some lovely potatoes.
Well, it looks like we're digging grass today. Just a grassy spot in the field. Not a lot of spuds in there though.
Okay, well, the eliminator cellar is almost full, and we weren't planning on using this cellar. This is our little A-frame. It's wooden built. It used to have dirt on the top, but we've replaced it with just insulation because the dirt is too heavy and it collapses the roofs. So we weren't planning on using this one, but now we have too many eliminators, so we're gonna put them in here. So I'm gonna come down here, and I have to get some of these vents all set up. I need to shut this back door. Just kind of get this all ready, because I guess in about 8 trucks of eliminators, that cellar will be full, and we'll have to move them down here. So I need to set up some pipe, shut a door. I thought there was a bunch of equipment in here, but luckily that's all gone. They got it removed, and this has been scraped. So it's ready. We just weren't planning on using the cellar. But yeah, we'll get some pipe set up. This is the air tunnel. It's just a wooden wall, some holes in it, and it goes not all the way to the end. So we're probably gonna start stacking the potatoes right in here. We're not gonna go all the way to the end of the cellar. We're not gonna fill the cellar all the way full, but it is going to have some potatoes in it. So I'm gonna start maybe right here. I'm just gonna take this and drop it on the floor. There we go. I'm gonna get a few of these set up. Probably 3 of them. And we can set up more if we need to, but I'm at least gonna get 3 rows set up, and then I'll shut this door. Right now this door is providing a lot of light, so I'm gonna leave it open. All right, I got the first 2 little rows set up. We'll have to get the piler in here and see. We may need to put 1 more row in here when he gets started, so shouldn't be too long before they're over here. They actually just texted and said they're done with that field, so now they're switching fields. I have to go mark the pile so we know where in the cellar those potatoes from that field begin and end. So let's go do that. I almost forgot one very important thing. I gotta shut the door.
have a rock problem. Good grief, look at all those rocks falling through there. And that's only about half of them. The rest of them are coming out on the sizer over there. A lot of rocks. We have to run this really slow so we can try and get all the rocks out. You can hear them clinking around. Get all this weeds out of here. They're now digging just on the other side of this equipment in the field. Okay, we just threw a couple streamers. Trevor's went a little high, mine's good. Threw streamers on the pile so we know what spuds are where, what fields. We're just trying to keep track of what fields, because every field has a different size of potatoes. So with a different field, you have a different size. If you're like, okay, well this size of potato is selling for a lot right now, let's go in and dig, let's get those out and sell them. So just marking them so we know where they're at. So this field has a lot of little tiny potatoes, and we were losing so many out the eliminators over there that we decided to tighten our sizer down. So we tightened our sizer down, but this belt right here moves in and out with the sizer when you tighten it down. Well, it moved in far enough, the belt dropped between this conveyor and the sizer, and all the potatoes just went right on the ground, and we had a mound of potatoes underneath here. So I went and cut a piece of plywood and shoved it underneath there, and they're kind of building up, but at least they're not falling through. So they're building up and then they're just kind of sliding out. Let's see if I can show you. So they are coming down. The ones underneath are just going to sit there until we're done, and then we can push them off. But it's working. It's a farmer fix. It'll last for a little while. It would have worked better. We could move this whole piler or conveyor this way and then slid it in, except for right there is the hitch of the piler for the eliminators, and the tire's right up against it, so we can't move it. So lots of little issues we had to come up with quick fixes for. The potatoes look good, they're just small. Hopefully they can still use a lot of them. And then these lights right here, that's the harvester, that's the crossover, that's the moon. It's a nice night right now, but supposedly there's a storm on the way. If I stood here long enough, there's some thunder and lightning over there behind the mountain. But we're supposed to get 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain in the next 24 hours. So we're trying to dig enough that we can fill this cellar all the way up, close it, and then tomorrow when we're rained out, we're just expecting to be rained out. Tomorrow when we're rained out, we can move all this equipment to the next cellar. So we are going to dig tonight until this cellar is full. Well, we're getting closer. We have to move this. So we're emptying off all the conveyors, and then we're going to take this conveyor out and then drive the expandable out and hook up to the other conveyor. So we're just running them off so we can move them easier. Okay, we had to put a little jog in it. Now we're going this way and then that way and dumping over the expandable. Everything's still running. Good, good. Well, we just remembered that we left a tractor and a truck out in the field, so I'm in the tractor and Trevor went to go get the truck. I'm just letting this warm up a little bit before I take off because it's kind of chilly out here and I don't want to take off with no oil through the engine, so we're gonna let it warm up for a minute. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed today's video. We are just about done for today. It is about midnight and we're not going to be able to fill this cellar tonight. It's probably going to take a few more hours to fill it. I don't know if they are going to decide to just move cellars anyway. I'm not really in charge of that, but we've got it just about full. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Sorry, I'm a little tired right now, but if you enjoyed it, go down below, hit subscribe. I'm Big T. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.